Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and all week long we have been talking with our nominees for our Champions in Industry Awards. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and sign up at cobrt.com/events for our Champions in Industry Awards Luncheon. That will be taking place on Monday, December 3rd at 11 o'clock a.m. at the Cable Center. So go ahead and sign up for that. But I have another nominee in studio with me, and I have with me Megen Schlesinger and KiMar Gartman, and you are both with the Catalyst Accelerator program, Catalyst Space Accelerator team, I should say, and that is through C-Track. And Megen, we had you on earlier a couple weeks ago talking about C-Track because that was also nominated. But this, your Space Accelerator, Catalyst Accelerator team has been nominated in the Aerospace category. You guys have some pretty big people that you're playing the field with on this one. It's by Aerospace, Ball Aerospace, and Aerospace Ventures at CU Boulder. So some big names you're competing against. You mentioned off air that you actually have worked with Ball on this particular program. So we'll get into the weeds of that. But first, again, let's introduce you guys, and we will talk a little bit about each of your backgrounds. So Megen, again, you are the managing director, which you changed position titles since the last time you were here at C-Track. So yeah, tell us about your promotion real quick.
Well, I mean, it was pretty simple. We went into a board meeting, and then they had a closed-door session after we left, and they voted to make me the managing director of the company. And then they came back and let me know on a Friday afternoon, and that was that. So it was exciting.
Oh, yeah, that's what great news to have on a Friday afternoon.
No kidding.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Yes, and KiMar Gartman, you are the program director for this Space Accelerator program. So how did you get there? What's your background?
So I've been working for C-Track for a couple of years now and have bounced around to different positions within the organization. My last one was with the CyberWorks program, and I was co-leading that with another leader. And then Megen and the rest of the leadership team at that time approached me in September and said, the Catalyst Accelerator starts on Monday, and right now we don't have leadership for that. Would you step from CyberWorks into Catalyst Accelerator? And I thought about it for a short period of time and thought I would love to do that. So I did. I stepped over and took over the program days before it started. But it was so well set up by the former director, Dr. Becca Decker, that it was just an easy step into, and I love it so far.
Wonderful. So that transition wasn't too terrible for you then switching over?
No, it was actually great.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So is this more in the direction that you saw yourself going beforehand, or are you just kind of one of those, I'll take it as it comes?
I'll take it as it comes.
I feel you on that, yes. Not much choice sometimes in life to take it as it goes, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will talk about the Catalyst Accelerator program. I would like to talk. I promise you I would. But yeah, so let's talk about the background and why this was born and where we're at right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So we were approached by the Air Force Research Directorate, the Space Vehicles Directorate down in New Mexico about 2 years ago, and I was in those meetings at the time taking notes, and they were wanting to see if we would do a prototype of an accelerator, because they want to get new innovative discoveries and into the hands of the warfighter, basically. And they had the vision that an accelerator would do it in a reduced amount of time. And so I was sitting in meetings with the owner of Catalyst Campus and the campus director at that time, talking about what this would look like. And now 2 years later, I'm running the second cohort, which is amazing. But they came to an agreement, and the inaugural cohort was launched in January of this year, focused on weather, terrestrial weather. And that was a phenomenal success. And then this is now the actual accelerator with a new group of companies, 8 of them, that are focused on positioning, navigation, and timing, which is for operating within a GPS-denied environment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
yeah.
Can you go into detail on that?
Sure. I'm sure. Probably. Yeah, I can go into detail.
Yes.
Well, that's the great thing about it is that it's all unclassified. So, you know, that's one of the barriers to entry, so to speak, for a lot of these companies is that they don't have people with clearances, or they don't even have positions within their companies where they have slots that authorize them to have clearances. And so that's part of the point of this accelerator program, is to keep it at the unclassified level so that everybody can play. And we can see what that emergent technology is without that crazy barrier to entry that takes, you know, a year to get investigated and, you know, cleared essentially to learn basically sources and methods is what mostly they're protecting. And, you know, that's not always required to get the job done.
Right.
So, you know, like KiMar said, it's about how can we find new technologies that will enable us to operate in an environment where GPS doesn't work, or it's denied, or it's spoofed, or jammed, or whatever it is, so that, you know, the world doesn't stop essentially in that situation, right?
Yeah, and it's a problem that is across all military branches. If you're flying an airplane and you don't know where you are, then that's a problem.
It's kind of a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so these companies have come up with alternatives to that and are developing those solutions and presenting them to the Air Force and Army and Navy. We've got all of them coming in to talk to these companies to see where their technologies might fit within the spectrum of military and national security.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really like that.
It is. It's exciting.
Yeah, I get to learn secrets here. So you came on for the second cohort for sure. Were you there to see the initial cohort and how that went, and what's changed between the first and the second? I should ask.
So my perspective is limited because I was very heavily involved with the CyberWorks program at that time. So I went to the kickoff and I went to the demo day, and I saw from a distance, from an outsider's perspective, what it looked like. You were probably more involved.
Yeah, I had a little bit of involvement in both. So the first time, much more, I don't want to say much, but it was more commercially focused just based on the type of investment. So, you know, for the selection and investment part, that's what happens before the accelerator programming actually begins, because somehow we have to select which companies go in, and there has to be something in it for them to want to participate. So the first time around, it was we partnered up with Space Capital Colorado, and then they provided an initial investment in all those companies. So each of them struck an individual deal with Space Capital Colorado, and that's what allowed them to be commercially focused as well as military focused. So we, through the programming, provided here's basic business principles, how to mature your technology, get exposure to different customers. But with that commercial investment brought to the table was essentially, you know, this is an interested party that's not the military. They want to see you succeed as well. They're putting money on it, and they're giving you the resources that you need to get you to that next level, so that if it works out for the Air Force, that's great. But if not, that's okay too. And the beautiful thing about that is that they're not waiting on an Air Force requirement to keep their company alive, and then the Air Force gets to draft off of that because they're staying up with what the commercial sector wants, which now is, if it's extremely competitive with military capabilities, which, you know, 50 years ago, that was not the case. So that's how we did selection the first time around. Space Capital Colorado did all the down select and the final selection, the deal striking, all of that. But the second time around, the government, it's a little bit more government focused in that all of our participants, they applied to a SBIR. What was it? Small Business Innovative Research grant. I learned it this time. So they all applied for these grants, and then the government did the selection as far as who ended up going through the accelerator program. So they have funding from the government. So like I said, it's a little more government focused this time, and it is a little bit more heavy government problem set. So, okay, understandable. And that model works this time. And then moving forward, we anticipate we'll kind of follow the same pattern, right? Where it's Space Capital Colorado has agreed to participate again, and they'll do the next round of investment. And then the cohort after that will be another SBIR process. So, you know, just a different approach and different participants, and it's been really interesting kind of seeing the differences between them.
Yeah, I would imagine. And I'm sure that these smaller businesses are keen to get on board to get that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to get that recognition. And
absolutely.
Avoid all the red tape down the road maybe that they're looking at. What are you learning going from each cohort? And are they running it year long? I guess I should ask. So the first one here was January 30th. That was your inaugural of 2018. And then the second one was September 18th. So roughly 9 months. So is that typical? Are you looking to do these a little bit longer? What's timeline plan for that?
So typically we have a 12-week program,
Okay.
and it's a semi-residential, so the companies are on location at Catalyst campus every other week throughout the cohort. And then that allows them the freedom to be able to continue to run their own business and not be so absorbed by being in an accelerator. And so we're looking at 2019, our next one will start in April. And then we'll have another one start in probably about August or September. But moving forward, we're looking at one in the early part of the year and one in the latter part of the year.
Okay, so about 2 a year. That's awesome. I feel that's more than I thought you would have. In all fairness, I felt like this would be like a lot. It's a lot. That's a lot to take on. It really is.
Yeah.
Twice a year that's for all that you're doing and encompassing. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
But it's exciting. So I would imagine, you know, we're very big into aerospace in Colorado. So I would imagine there's plenty of business to go around, right? You're not running out just yet on bidders and people.
No.
Do you have a wait list for that? How does that work?
So we have an application that you do online, or at least the first time, right? The second time you go through the SBIR process, so that's all through, you know, the government avenues and all that. But so we have a website, people apply, and then those applications are reviewed. And then, like I said, we do the down select. So we actually, the first time when we did that, I think it was about 38 to 40 companies applied. And then I think they selected 15 to come and actually pitch. So randomly enough, I wasn't even really affiliated with the accelerator, but I sat in on the pitches for some reason that day. So I got to see them pitch. And so they came in and I mean, it was like Shark Tank where they come and they just say, hey, here's my thing and here's what it does, and it's all great. And trying to understand that was difficult for me. Just that's not my background, so it was quite a bit. But yeah, so they pitched. We had Air Force representation in the room so we could see who they were interested in and make sure that we were getting the right people that they wanted. But again, having that commercial investment, we wanted to make sure that they were commercially viable, that they had a lifespan outside of this that first time around. So they came and pitched, and then from there they did final selection and negotiation of the contracts, and then they all showed up in January, and we kicked off, and it was great.
Yeah, and how many succeeded in getting in on this contract?
So we had 7 companies participate the first time, and then we have 8 in right now, and I think we plan on doing 8 every time after this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've settled on 8 being
it's
like
a good number.
Solid,
It's a good number,
yeah. You know what? Yeah, 15's a little overwhelming.
Yeah,
I would
that's
imagine. So how can I make myself be the most presentable company out there? I know that you're looking for Air Force approval, obviously.
Sure.
And also, you mentioned that you want them to make sure that they have good commercial ties as well. So in that initial process, what kind of keyword can I use to get to you?
That is a great question.
As far as like being selected, like what's going to help your chances?
Very first application process.
So I know just since I was there the first time, what seemed to really speak to our panel was, again, like your ability to speak commercial viability. And I think that was really impressive to the Air Force, too, to sit there and be like, okay, like these guys, maybe they need to mature a little bit, but their technology is awesome. And also they know the value, being able to sit there and say, we project we're going to have sales at this number. And yeah, they might be totally off, but at the same time, like, they're confident in their product. They can talk scalability. They can talk kind of the business speak too, as well as, answer all those technical questions.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't the real deal, it showed very quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would imagine. And I've always been a big proponent of, if you say it with enough confidence, people will believe
totally.
you, right?
Totally.
And then people got Google on their phones, and now they prove me wrong.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to, KiMar, and this next cohort? So you mentioned April 2019 is what we're looking at. From the success of this last one that you had in September going into April, what are there changes that you want to implement? Is there something that you want to see more strongly represented or less represented?
I think the strengths of the program has been the customer discovery aspect of it. These 8 companies are able to sit across the table from decision makers in the Air Force, decision makers in the Army, Navy, and commercial industry people as well, and say, this is my product. And they've been able to shape those products and say, if you tweaked it and did it more like this would really fit an Air Force problem, and we would be interested in that technology. So I look forward to more of those kind of connections, because the companies are very excited about the fact that they have an audience with people that they, outside of the military, it's hard to get that kind of an audience. So I look forward to more of those kind of connections being made. The new theme hasn't been announced yet, so I'm looking forward to a new area and meeting new people within that industry sector, that technology sector. And so I'm excited, and it's really a fun program. And my background is education, and so I feel like I'm right in my element. We're training, we're bringing in new people, we're making these connections, these networking connections for these companies, and it's been a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, something else that's been different this second time around that I would just love to see more of too is more of the teaming. I mean, because we've seen companies, and we saw it the first time too, but this time it just seems even more complementary. All these companies, they're just different enough that they tend to complement each other. And I'm sure you could speak to it with more detail, but you see them in these working sessions together, and they're like, your thing does this, my thing does this. If we put it together, it's amazing, and it's just great.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to get our content writer at C-Track to write an article just on how many teaming agreements have happened within these 8 companies. And then even with companies outside. My brother owns a drone, is pretty much a drone expert, and is now teaming together with some of these companies as well. So these connections are being made, and it's incredible.
That is
it's incredible.
Yeah, that's so lovely to see. And last time you were here, Megen, we mentioned this too. Colorado's really, really good at collaboration. It's across industries, but within industries, particularly the aerospace industry and the manufacturing industries, those both are really high on the list of being able to collaborate with each other and across borders. Like, hey, listen, I know this company that needs this. We're not so good at making it, but we know that you are, so we think that you would be best for this job. And I think that's amazing that instead of being like, no, we don't know anybody else that can help you with that small problem.
Right.
Giving a name is not that hard, right? And coming together on this, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, we bring other small businesses in to participate in the accelerator, so a lot of them are really willing to sponsor, we call them fireside chats, or a happy hour or something like that, where they say, hey, I'm an IP attorney, and, I can help you, and here's some things to think about. So they'll kind of give a lesson, and then, if somebody wants to hire them, that's great. And if not, that's okay too, because a lot of them aren't local. So they can sit there and say, hey, I know somebody in your area that can help you. And so they're getting that support as well. And that's something that was written about in the in our nomination was, from the first cohort, we had 29 small businesses recruited that helped support the program. So it wasn't just a C-Track thing. It wasn't just a Catalyst campus thing. It was really a community event. And I think that was really cool. And just getting to, like you said, that collaboration and getting people to come together to support each other, just to see it firsthand was just really rewarding, I think.
I think so. That's awesome. So you mentioned theme. I know we can't mention 2019's. That's not been revealed just yet. But do you mind? I guess I didn't realize there were themes involved. So what was the first one? What was the second one? And maybe we'll get a clue on what the third one is.
Yeah, the first one was terrestrial weather.
Okay. Yes.
So
you did mention
devices, devices that help predict weather. And then this one is on positioning, navigation, and timing. So technologies that will help us operate within a GPS-denied environment. And the next one, we're looking at something to do with aerospace.
Good clue.
Can I just leave it like that?
You can leave it like that. I'm going to leave it. You know what? There's Space Invaders. We're definitely getting involved with the Space Force team, right?
Right.
Gosh, no, we're going to have to talk off air about what it is. I'm very excited for this. So we have a couple minutes here. Let's talk about the future. So I know you can't mention the theme. I know that 2019, April, and we're thinking August, September for the second one. So moving forward, what next steps are we taking?
So if I kind of just address the current cohort, we're having a demo day coming up in December 13th. It's an invitation-only event, but, people can always write to me and get an invitation. And that's going to be a time where these companies are able to showcase and everything that they've learned within the accelerator. So not only just their technology, but we're working with them to get their pitch into perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we've got that coming up on December 13th. And then in December, we're also going to be announcing the new topic and putting on our website at
CatalystAccelerator.space.
Thank you. Yep. CatalystAccelerator.space.
Yep.
Will be the application there for those who might be interested and have technologies relevant to the new theme.
Mm-hmm. And this one will be the, with the investment from Space Capital Colorado again. Mm-hmm. So, no need to go through the ornery SBIR process.
Right.
This time, you just apply directly through the website, and we'll have frequently asked questions, all that stuff up there to help applicants out. And as always, you can always reach out to, us, and we'll point you in the right direction as far as making sure that if you're struggling with an application. But they'll open up in December as well. And then we'll probably start selection, probably January or February timeframe. So those are all the details we're ironing out right now. So
I love that. That's wonderful. So you are opening up in December-ish for applications.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Early December, yep.
Early December. Wonderful. Yes. So that is exciting stuff, you guys. Last few minutes here. We know what we're doing in 2019. We're going to start getting applications in. What are we going to do if we win the Champions in Industry Award? Where are we displaying it?
LinkedIn? No. I mean, I'm sure it'll be touted all over the campus, which will be very exciting. The campus has already won a few awards in the last few years, just for being the ecosystem. C-Track has won a few awards. Our former managing director, Aaron Miller, has won a few awards. So, this will be another one. And it's exciting because it's a Colorado award, and we're up against some pretty stiff competition. So, that'll be huge. It would be amazing for us. And then also, articles and all kinds of stuff. We'll share it everywhere.
Perfect. We will share it for you as well. Yeah. That is exciting stuff. And I do know, so the award itself is actually made by Community College of Denver, their advanced manufacturing program that they have.
Excellent.
So it's students that make these awards.
That's so cool.
So it's very cool. I'm excited that we'll be revealing those soon.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them. We give out I don't want to call it a graduation certificate, but it's kind of like a plaque for all our participants from a local company called TechWares, and they make all of it out of old circuit boards and stuff. And they make ties too. They're really cool.
That is really cool.
I love this idea though that we're using local companies, local people, and just kind of doing something a little different. So I'm excited to see it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
And we're excited to have you guys on Monday joining us at the Cable Center. Yes, and best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
In the aerospace category. And for my listeners out there, if you have not already signed up for this event, again, it's at cobrt.com/events. Click on December 3rd. Get your tickets now. Find this podcast and more at cobrt.com/radio-podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. It's been lovely.
Thank you.